All right, so I have just seen the Equalizer 3, a series that I did not think we would be getting a trilogy of, but yet again, here we are. So, a bit of background on my exposure to the Equalizer franchise. I know that two TV shows exist, one that was in the 80s, and one that I don't know if it's canceled now or if it's still going on, but I know the new one is starring Queen Latifah as the Equalizer, not Denzel Washington, but I have not seen either of the TV shows. So I don't have nostalgia for the 80s and I don't have any exposure to the new one. But I have seen the previous two Denzel Washington Equalizer movies. I think the first one is fine, nothing really too exciting. Denzel Washington is really the best part of that movie. He has such great screen presence and real gravitas to his performance that really just glues you to the screen. But the actual story is a little thin and bare bones, kind of lackluster. The second movie is a bit more of the same, except the story is even worse than it is in the first one. Like nothing in that movie really did anything for me. So anyway, so I did not have high expectations for the third one, but I was hoping it would be closer to the first one than the second one. I was hoping the story would have a little bit more meat to its bones. And I am pleased to say that it is around just as good as the first one, if not better. I still can't quite decide which one I like more, but I did like this one. It definitely is the most violent of the three Equalizer movies. It does a lot of creative things with the violence that I haven't really seen in movies before. So that was fun to see, some little bit of creativity going on there. Once again, Denzel Washington is the best part of the movie. He's just a phenomenal actor, does a really good job of just commanding a scene, making his presence known, and showing nuances in the character that is not necessarily on the written page, but you can just see it in the way that he acts and in his eyes and in the way he talks in certain situations, that your imagination just kind of runs wild with what this guy has been through, what type of person he really is. All that stuff is all the acting there. So Denzel Washington is really good here. The movie also does a really good job of making you sympathetic towards the people that Denzel's character, Robert McCall, is protecting here, which is something that it does better than the first one and the second one. I really didn't feel too much connection. It felt a lot like emotional manipulation, like they're trying to make me care for these people, and it's so obvious that I didn't do it. This one is cheesy, sure, but they did a really good job of making me not want these people to suffer, just like Denzel Washington's character. And so you're fully on board with him when he finally decides to take action. So they did a really good job there. Unfortunately, there is a B plot involving, I believe her name is Dakota Fanning, which I understand that her and Denzel being in a movie together is a bit of a Man on Fire reunion. But unfortunately, her subplot, every single time the movie cut away to it, I was very uninterested. It was just a lot of talking, a lot of government stuff, and it made the story less personal. I wanted this story to be more grounded and focused on the town, that this Italian town that Robert McCall has found himself in and that he wants to protect from the mafia. And when the movie focuses on that, it does it pretty well. But then every time it cuts away to this other storyline that we have going on, which is going through different parts of Italy, and it involves international espionage type stuff and real connections, it just was not as interesting to me. It was not as personal. It felt very surface level and plot for plot's sake. The movie was more personal and more emotional and more engaging whenever it would cut back to Denzel and his relationships with the mafia and how he feels about them just ruining these people's lives, these people that he's grown to love. So, unfortunately, it's not a great movie because of that, because it does focus quite a bit on this subplot. But when it does, I enjoy it quite a bit. So I would say if you like action movies, This isn't John Wick. This is more of a thinking man's John Wick. It's a lot more contemplative than John Wick is. But if you do like action, if you like Denzel, and you don't have anything better to do this weekend, I would definitely say The Equalizer 3 is a good way to spend your time, as long as you don't get squirmy through violence, because there is some pretty violent stuff in this movie. But yeah, go check it out and see for yourself.